I'm Director of Marketing for Annual Giving, and I'm also a two-time Steinhardt alum, so I clearly love all things NYU, and I lead our direct marketing team. So I'm joined today by my fabulous colleagues, Shanice Jones, who is Associate Director for Marketing, and also Natalie Kimball, who is Director of Development for Leadership Annual Giving. So they're gonna hop on and discuss some ways that you can be involved and what we mean when we talk about leadership annual giving. So I will go ahead and get started here. So I'm going to cover what is annual giving and why it matters that alumni give. So first off, I think it's helpful to go over some basic definitions. So what do we mean when we talk about a gift? What constitutes a gift? So a gift is a voluntary transfer of cash or assets from an organization from a donor. The donor can be an individual, a corporation, or a foundation, and no tangible benefit is exchanged for the gift. So that's your basic definition. There are many types of gifts, so I'll just go over paint a very broad picture for you of what the various types of gifts are. So you can make an outright gift, which is a one-time commitment with immediate payment. So an example of this is you go to our giving page and you make a $100 gift online, put in your credit card information, it's processed, it's a one-time thing, and you're done. You can also make a pledge. So a pledge is a promise to make a gift over a period of time or to fulfill a gift at a later date. So in some cases, a donor will sign a pledge agreement and it'll outline the amount of the gift, any donor designations, the payment schedule. And I would say that typically pledges are paid off within 5 years. So that's one type of gift, one type of pledge. You can also make a phone-a-thon pledge. So some of you may receive calls from our student callers. They'll ring you, you'll make a pledge for $100, and then you'll fulfill that pledge at a later date, maybe when we send you a reminder in 15 days or a month later. Another type of gift is a recurring gift. So this is a really great option for those of you who want to be consistent donors but don't really want to think about it, right? So you can set up a monthly, quarterly, or an annual donation. It's automatically processed and you don't really have to think about it. A couple of other types of gifts. You can make a matching gift. You can have your employer, if they have a matching gift program, they could potentially match your donation to a 501c3, which NYU is. There are also planned gifts, which are legacy or deferred gifts to be received at a future date, and also gifts in kind. So gifts in kind are gifts of tangible personal property, like equipment or materials. So that's how we define a gift. Those are some types of gifts. The annual giving team raises primarily outright gifts and pledges. We have other staff at UDAR who focus on planned giving and are experts in some of these other ways of giving. So there are a few ways, more than a few ways to make a donation. You can make a gift online. We have our main giving page, which is giving.nyu.edu. You can go on there and make a one-time gift or set up a recurring gift through that platform. You can make a gift on the phone with one of our student callers. If you're more interested in supporting niche projects, you can check out Rising Violets, which is our crowdfunding peer-to-peer platform. Check out the campaigns on there and make a donation in that way. If you're an employee, you can set up a payroll deduction. You can give at an event. We'll sometimes set up a tablet near the registration table, and you can make a donation that way, or make an optional gift online when you register for an event. And you can also make a gift via mail. So you get a letter from us, you can send back the reply card with your credit card information or with your check, and you can support the university in that way. So countless ways, to make a donation. So when you make a gift, you can give to many funds or allocations. An allocation can be either restricted or unrestricted. So what does that mean? A restricted allocation is set up for gifts that are restricted to a particular school, college, or program. So a restricted gift allows you, the donor, to direct your gift for a specific project or purpose. So an example of a restricted gift is an endowed scholarship where the parameters are agreed upon between the donor and the university. So the NYU A8 Deborah Lamort Scholarship is a restricted fund because all gifts go to members of underrepresented groups. The Emergency Relief Fund is also a restricted fund because all donations to the Emergency Relief Fund, which we set up this spring to help with COVID relief for our students, all of those donations need to support emergency relief. And there's a whole process in place for how financial aid accepts applications from students and how they award those funds. Some other examples of restricted gifts, you may set up a scholarship for Steinhardt students, or you make a donation to establish a professorship. So those are just some examples of restricted gifts. An endowed gift is typically a restricted gift, and we'll get to that in just a second. So unrestricted allocations, on the other hand, allow the university to specify how the gift is used. So if you make a gift to the CAS Annual Fund, your gift goes to the area of greatest need at CAS. It could go towards financial aid, it could go towards maintenance of a CAS building or technology upgrades, and gifts to those unrestricted funds are at the discretion of the dean of that school. So other unrestricted allocations include the Abu Dhabi Annual Fund, the Tisch Alumni Annual Fund, the Gallatin Alumni Fund, etc. So an endowment, on the other hand, is a compilation of funds given by many donors over time, and those gifts are made for specific purposes. The university then invests those gifts, and the university can only spend a certain percentage of the endowment each year. So the funds are invested, and the endowment provides a critical source of stability and capital for the university's mission and programs. And I have here, just for context, some numbers. So in FY19, the value of NYU's endowment was $4.3 billion. And you can see the value of the endowments for some other institutions here, for comparison. $4 billion seems like a lot, but it's not a lot in comparison to the endowments at our peer institutions. And also, it's not a lot when you compare the NYU endowment per student versus the endowment per student at other institutions. So at NYU, we have 47,000 or 50,000 students. You divide that 4.3 billion up, and that leaves us with about $90,000 per student. If you compare that to, Princeton or Harvard, they have endowments of over 1 million per student. So there is, a stark difference. The other thing to keep in mind is the need of NYU students. So 52% of NYU students receive financial aid, and 20% are Pell Grant eligible. So that helps to illustrate the need. And again, our current endowment looks good as a whole number, but when expressed per student, it falls short of student needs. And this is one reason why giving matters so much, why our work is important, and why it's important for members of the Alumni Association and volunteers to help spread the word and to be supportive. So now that we have run through some basic definitions for you, you may be wondering what annual giving is. So this is our annual giving mission. We raise valuable unrestricted dollars for NYU while growing engagement, participation, and donor pipeline. So one important point about our work is that we strive to cultivate consistent giving to meet the university's needs and our students' needs. And our goal is also to build a journey as an individual's relationship with NYU involves, right? So starting off as a student donor, and then a recent alum donor, a loyal donor, a leadership donor, major gift donor, right? And that's kind of the ideal trajectory in terms of fundraising. And then for just a little bit of context as well, annual giving is really the vehicle through which the majority of our donors give. In fiscal year 19, we raised $32 million from 40,000 donors. And a good 60 to 65% of those donors made donations under $1,000. So really the collective impact adds up. It really does. Every gift really does matter to us. And our priorities are fundraising for scholarship and for the student experience. So again, typically like 30% of our annual donors support scholarships. So again, that just kind of ties into the need that I previously discussed. Okay, so how do we do all this? How do we accomplish this mission? So the one way that we do this is through our direct marketing effort. So the direct marketing team is currently a lean team of 5, and we cover all of the areas that you see on this slide. So we solicit parents, alumni, and friends through several channels. So I'll just give you a run through of some of the areas that we manage. So web giving has grown a lot over the past several years, and our team oversees all giving forms, the crowdfunding platform Rising Violets, which I mentioned earlier, and email solicitations. In terms of the volume, we send out about 50 email campaigns per year. And the rule is repetition matters. Repetition and consistency, right, in like outreach. We also manage our mail channel. We have about 4 main appeals each year, but we do end up managing about 25 in a given fiscal year. Mail may be slow, but it's not dead, and it's really important, to the work that we do. We also oversee student philanthropy. So we have a senior class gift campaign that raises scholarships through the 1831 fund, and those scholarships go to incoming freshmen and transfer students. So we have an amazing 1831 student leadership committee. We also have a Stern Legacy committee as well. Our students are amazing. They raise about, in FY19, they raised $40,000 for scholarships. And they're incredible to work with. It's one of my favorite parts of what we do. We also have our crowdfunding peer-to-peer platform, which is Rising Violets. And again, through RV, you can support different causes that you feel passionate about. So we have some really cool specific projects, service trips, events, and NYU specific ventures. And those campaigns are led, a good portion of them are led by students, right, who really like take the lead and do their fundraising outreach. So that's one important area for us. And then we've got donor recognition. I'll let Shanice talk about this later, but we have several ways in which we recognize, thank, and steward donors and volunteers. And then last but not least, NYU One Day, the logo is up here. It is the most important day of the year for us. It's our 24-hour day of giving, and it takes place in March. It's a university-wide effort, and everybody participates, faculty, staff, friends, parents, alumni, students, and there are countless opportunities to be involved on that day, and Shanice will share some of those in a moment. And finally, why does annual giving matter? We've talked about a couple of reasons why it matters. I've got some reasons why we think it's important. So we already discussed helping students meet their financial need, but also giving helps with the university's rankings. So US News and World Report factors in participation in their rankings of universities and colleges. So the percentage of undergraduate alumni that give is part of that calculation that they develop. So NYU is currently ranked at number 29, and as more alumni support the university by making a gift, the more our rankings will improve. So those are just some of the reasons why annual giving matters. I also have a short video, a short animation that our team put together that I'll just go ahead and play here, and then we'll keep moving.
Why does my gift to an annual fund matter to NYU? Because it makes an immediate impact. Annual funds are put to use as soon as they come in and are flexible, allowing the university to meet its most urgent needs and impact the areas you care about most. Your gift to an annual fund can ease the cost of certification exams for future teachers, help student STEM teams attend national competitions, support a graduating senior so they can finish their last semester, or make study abroad a reality. Everything that happens during a day in the life of an NYU student is supported in part by the collective generosity of your gifts. Thank you for making the day-to-day NYU experience possible. No matter the size of your gift, you make a difference.
And with that, I'll let Shanice take it away.
Oh no, Natalie's up.
Oh, I'm so sorry, Natalie.
No worries at all, Dory. Thanks so much. Just want to thank everyone and reiterate what Dory shared. Just thank you so much for your interest in our fundraising efforts. We certainly couldn't do it without you. So really appreciate that. My name is Natalie Kimball-Tassoon. I'm the Director of Development for Leadership Annual Giving, which is a newly developed and defined program at NYU. So really excited to share this with you today. So Dory, if you can click ahead to the next slide. How we define, what is Leadership Annual Giving? How do we define that? At NYU, we like to think of it as the bridge between annual giving and major giving. And you'll have to forgive me because I have a few journey metaphors in here. So bridge is the first one. What's really neat about the Leadership Annual Giving program is that it's really the first opportunity for alumni like you, parents, friends of the university, to work one-on-one with a gift officer to have a really personalized philanthropic experience. So, perhaps you've been a loyal giver, you give through all those various ways that Dory defined, perhaps through one of the channels that she, overviewed, and you're looking for that, one-on-one experience to really craft what kind of impact you can have with your own personal philanthropy. And we have a ton of fun doing it and getting a chance to meet each of you one-on-one. Leadership annual gifts really do range depending on the organization in terms of size. At NYU, we think of leadership annual gifts as being starting at that $5,000 gift marker and going up to the low six figures at around 100,000. Of course, there's, wiggle room on both ends of that, but, we're really dedicated to that 5-figure gift space. And really, like I said, working one-on-one with our donors to imagine the impact that they can have with that more substantial size investment. And here's our team. Like Dory's DM team, our Leadership Annual Giving team is small but mighty. We work really hard. We love what we do. On this team, we have 6 fundraisers, including myself, and 5 of which are Leadership Annual Giving officers. So we're, the ones out there meeting with alumni, parents, and friends one-on-one to have those conversations. We also have 2 super duper essential team members who help keep us really well organized. They do some really, really cool work in data analytics. So Matthew Schmeida, our Assistant Director for Prospect Management and Data Analytics, he'll dive real deep into the data. And, Dory and her team, they oversee such mass efforts, through web giving, through phonathon, through the mail, et cetera. And what he does is look at some of that data and identify where there might be areas for opportunity for one of our gift officers to work one-on-one with someone who's showing, potential as a leadership annual giver. So perhaps, he uncovers someone who has given $1,000 over the phonathon and thinks to himself, what, if this alum works with a gift officer, I wonder where that journey might take them. So he's got a pretty cool job and he helps us prioritize our work, which is great. So as I said, we work with alumni like you, parents, friends who wish to have that deeper philanthropic impact at NYU and just want a partner in learning how they can do so. We offer that personalized experience one-on-one. nowadays in this, virtual world that we're all living in, we're doing a lot of Zoom meetings, one-on-one, a lot of phone work. Traditionally our team would travel a lot. Right now we're not traveling just for the safety and well-being of our teams. But typically we might, fly to some of our high density alumni population communities where we can kind of cover more ground and be able to have those one-on-one meetings with our alumni community and parents and friends. So then in those meetings, what do we do when we sit down one-on-one to have coffee with someone or have a Zoom meeting with someone? We will explore now our second journey metaphor, our 3 avenues of philanthropy. So we like to think of them as really 3 different paths that we can offer to explore with an alum. And it may not just be one avenue. We may find that they want to explore 2 of these avenues, or in an ideal circumstance, maybe even all 3. So just to give some examples, perhaps we're working with an alum who has given loyally annually for many years and is trying to figure out where they might be able to have some impact. Maybe they have this longer term philanthropic goal of creating an endowed scholarship in their family name. And they want to continue that annual support, which we can help them facilitate as they work towards that larger goal. And we will help craft that comfortable, gift schedule with them so that they can accomplish their philanthropic goals. Another example, which comes up often too, perhaps there's an alum who, again, is that annual giver, believes in the, heart and soul of NYU and bleeds violet and wants to give loyally annually, but perhaps doesn't have the cash on hand to really envision a 5-year major gift pledge. So what we might explore with them, if they're comfortable and if they're interested, is an estate gift to NYU. So this is the planned giving avenue of philanthropy. So, perhaps it's envisioning that legacy that they could leave at their alma mater. Perhaps it's that endowed scholarship in their name, maybe even in a loved one's name. And it's a really, this is me speaking personally about this work. It's such a meaningful experience to go on this journey with alumni like you. It's meaningful for us too. So I have to just share that with you. So Dory, if we can click ahead, I'll just share a few examples of some of the philanthropic opportunities that we've crafted with alumni like you. I've kind of gone over a few of them already, but how our team has worked with folks like you, many times it's establishing named funds. We at NYU, we have expendable funds, we've got endowed funds. And just to clarify the difference between the 2, I like to think of expendable funds as sort of like a checking account. You invest, a certain amount into that fund and we spend it down to a 0 balance, and you can replenish it at any time. It will be immediately used to whatever that fund is, allocated for purpose. So, scholarship is a really easy example, so I'll use it there. Every semester we have scholarship need, tremendous scholarship need. So having those funds available for immediate awarding is really critical. And that's the beauty of the expendable scholarship fund. Versus endowed, which Dory did, go over, so I won't go through all the nuts and bolts. But basically, it's a permanently invested fund in the university's endowment. And each year, the Board of Trustees sits down and deems what's a reasonably prudent spend rate on the endowment. And in recent years, it's been, between 4 and 5%. So, if we're just talking in round easy numbers, if you've got a $100,000 endowed scholarship, 4 to 5% of that is $4,000 to $5,000 that can be awarded in scholarship awards from that fund. The beauty of an endowed scholarship is that because the principal gift, that $100,000 initial gift, is never spent, it lives on and on and on in perpetuity, leaving a beautiful legacy. So, there's both are essential. It's just a matter of figuring out what type of impact and what meaningful experience does an alum want out of this, and we help them explore both options. So as I said, scholarship is sort of the easy example, but we do have other named funds, lecture series, research funds, all that, the sweet spot that we are always striving to find and discover is where the university's priorities meet the wishes and intentions of our donor. So, partnering with deans and key faculty is a big part of our role too. So another example, a document of bequest intention, that's that planned giving avenue. There are many, many, many ways someone can make a planned gift. And luckily, so fortunately, we have two fabulous colleagues here at NYU who both have legal backgrounds. They've got extensive careers in planned giving. So when we sense that there's some interest in exploring that planned giving avenue, we will loop in one of those fabulous colleagues just so that they can really explore many ways that they can make a planned gift. And I find that it's really interesting, these colleagues, I've learned so much from them over the last few years. They will help an alum figure out what assets they could leave to the university, and some of which you may not even know could be a charitable gift. So it's been really cool to sort of think creatively about the ways that you can make the impact you want to have. And then give unrestricted support to a program, department, or school. I mean, that is just like the bread and butter of support that we can offer our schools, our departments, our programs, our students, faculty. It allows them to have the flexibility to meet the needs of their program, department, and school as they arise throughout the year. So that's sort of that annual giving avenue. So how you can get involved, I've got my contact information front and center so that it's right there for you to take away with you. It would be our genuine pleasure to work with any one of you in exploring what sort of philanthropic impact you might want to have at NYU. We are always happy to be that resource for you. So please don't hesitate to reach out if you'd like to explore your own philanthropic journey with us. And connecting us to your NYU alumni in your network, perhaps folks you work with at work, or friends of yours, or folks who sit on other alumni associations with you. We are always happy to be connected to an alum who you think might be interested in exploring this with us. So thank you so much. Please, take my information and happy to answer any questions here or at a later time. Thank you so much.
All right, good morning, everyone. Like Joy said, I'm Shanice Jones. I'm the Associate Director of Marketing for Annual Giving. My role at the university is really about managing our annual giving volunteers, as well as overseeing our recognition societies. Before I jump into this, I just wanted to remind everyone, if you have any questions that you'd like us to answer, please put them in the Q&A function and we'll get to that in a second. So like I said, we'll talk a little bit about how we steward our donors and how we recognize them. So we have thousands of donors who support NYU annually. So we really wanted to create ways to recognize them and to cultivate a sense of community based on their their giving habits. So the groups that I'm going to go over today all have special or specific criteria for membership, as well as rewards and benefits. So our first is NYU Loyal. This is our recognition society for donors who give 2 or more years consecutively. You can give any amount to any fund. It's really about celebrating and cultivating that consecutive giving. Research and studies always show that if you get someone to support or be engaged for 2 to 5 years, you have someone who's going to be a supporter and be engaged for life. So you really want to celebrate that. Some of the benefits that we award to NYU Loyal is special recognition at events. I know many of you on the call are members of NYU Loyal, so thank you. But when we were when we could be in person and then we had events, I'm sure you all remember getting that loyal ribbon added to your name tag. So that's one way that we recognize those donors. We provide summer reading lists, get special invitations to events or kind of priority access to events. We provide an impact newsletter just so we can show how, you know, your consecutive giving fits into the larger picture of annual giving. So that's NYU Loyal. The second is Young Alumni Leadership Circle. We call it YALC for short. This is for graduates of the last 10 years who give leadership level gifts around $250 or $500. It's a little different depending on if they are an undergrad or a grad or graduated 0 to 5 years versus 6 to 10. But it starts at $250 and goes up from there. This group is really special to us because they are kind of like the sweet spot in the pipeline. They're not too far removed from being a student and kind of leading up into some of our other larger giving populations. So for them, it's really about curating really cool events. We have 2 premier receptions, one in the winter, one in the spring. They're always at really nice, swanky places. They're a good time. They're a lot of fun for those of you on the call who probably have attended. In the winter, we partner with the fundraising committee to host a silent auction where all the proceeds go to scholarships. And again, for this group, it's really about showing impacts and creating opportunities to network with other groups in the institute, in the university, like the recent alumni network or recent alumni and student programming, 1831, Stern Legacy, again, just kind of building on that pipeline. And we definitely, for this group, want to be able to show the impact. I think this is all of our donors want to see impact, but our young alumni especially really want to be able to see that at work right away. So we try to provide opportunities for that as well. Next is Loyal Leaders. This is for our alumni, parents, and friends who give gifts of $2,500 or more annually to any fund. This group is pretty large. Again, alumni, parents, and friends. So it's a wide range. So we try to find different benefits that would appeal to everyone. So we do things like curated, like special curated events. Now they're pretty much all virtual. Additional passes to BOPs. They get a personalized giving report or impact report each year. They have a personal contact for questions, which is me. They can get lunch for 2 at the Torch Club. Again, just like really nice, fun ways to acknowledge their giving. This group also has 3 different levels. So 2,500 or more, 10,000 or more, and then 25,000 or more. And each group has a few different benefits. Obviously the 25,000 or more, that group gets a little bit more access to university leadership, tours of new buildings, again, once we're able to be in person again, and things of that nature. I want to make a quick note about Loyal Leaders and Loyal Parents. We relaunched both of these programs in February of this year, so right before COVID hit. So a lot of these plans and events and things like that we tried to prepare for, unfortunately, we weren't able to do. So fingers crossed that things will get better soon, and we'll be able to implement these in the spring or the summer. Loyal Parents, those are our parents who give gifts of $5,000 or more annually. This group is really about providing networking opportunities to other parents. We did a lot of research, talked to a lot of parents before launching this, and we kept hearing the same thing. I just want to talk to other parents, whether they're in my region, our kids share the same school, same dorm. I just want to connect with other parents. So that's really what we're trying to do for this group. We're curating events around Alumni and Parents Weekend, doing senior toasts or graduation toasts for senior parents, doing a welcome breakfast during move-in week and things like that. Again, just an opportunity for them to connect and also to get access to university leadership and things like that, and other alumni groups as well. The other piece for Loyal Parents is that we're building a committee of super dedicated, engaged parents who will spearhead a lot of these events and also help us with our fundraising efforts. All right, so now we're gonna talk a little bit about how you can stay engaged and support annual giving. All right, so we talked about one day. everyone, I hope everyone knows about One Day at this point. But like Dory said, it's our huge, like our most important day of the year, 24 hours where we're all hands on deck to really support the university. We focus on participation. It's really about the gifts, because a lot of small gifts make a huge collective impact. So that's where our focus is. We don't have a goal yet for this year, but as soon as we have it, we will be sure to share it with you. But there's quite a few ways that you can get involved with One Day. First, you can be an email or letter signatory. This is pretty simple. Our team does a lot of the heavy lifting. We draft a letter, kind of create it. We'll share it with you for your feedback. You can add your own kind of personal story to it, perhaps a picture, and then you'll be included in our series of letters and emails leading up to and on the day. Next, you can be featured in a video. We love to hear stories of alumni donors, and kind of why you give back, why you love NYU, about your time, that we can also share either in email form or on our social pages throughout the time or leading up to One Day. You can become a social ambassador. So we provide resources and best practices and sample emails and social posts for you to put out to your networks to encourage their support of One Day as well. You can host a fundraiser either on Facebook or on Rising Violets, our crowdfunding platform that Dory talked about earlier, and I'll talk about a little bit more in a second. You can volunteer at our HQ. So One Day is mostly digital, but we wanted to create a physical space where people could come and celebrate One Day, celebrate the day, and really encourage giving. So we've been doing this for a couple of years now. And during the day, it's really fun. It's like food and food and drinks and prizes and music, photo booth. We usually have like a special guest come by. It's a really good time. So you could volunteer there. And then in the evening on One Day, we partner with our fundraising committee on the Alumni Association board. And we have people come in and either make phone calls, send texts, or post on social to encourage their networks to give. These are obviously things that you could do from wherever, right? But it's just kind of fun to do it together in a collective group. So that's our HQ. And lastly, you can do a challenge match. So if there's a fund or a school that's really important to you and you want to see them get some additional gifts, you can work with our Legos or a school fundraiser director and say, hey, I'm already planning to give this gift, but can we make it a match? Can we say if we get 100 gifts from CAS alums, I'll match $1,000 or something along those lines. Again, just thinking about that collective impact and how a little bit definitely does add up. So that's all for One Day. There's other things that we do outside of One Day. You can definitely host a campaign on Rising Violets. Like Dory said, this is it functions just as any other crowdfunding platform, but it is just specifically for NYU community. So as an alum, you can do a project. We work a lot with student groups. Just to give you some examples, we partner with Tandem Motorsports, which is a student group that, at Tandem, obviously, that builds an off-road vehicle that they drive and race in competitions all across the country. So they use Rising Violets to collect money so they can get their materials and their equipment and so on and so forth. Vote 2020 is a group from Wagner this year who did a project where students are going out to election boards and into the community to encourage people to register to vote. So very specific niche projects are what we tend to see on Rising Violets. And again, anyone can host a project there. You can make intros for our Legos, like Natalie mentioned. There's someone in your network, whether they're affiliated with NYU or not, but maybe they're philanthropically inclined and they want to start their journey here. Let us know who they are, and make those intros so they can start their philanthropic journey with us. And again, telling your story. We have an impact site where we post stories either in print or in video form of donors who are just sharing their story. They're about their time at NYU, why they give back. And these are things that we share with, all of our donors in the groups that I shared in the previous slide. And of course, we're annual giving. So it wouldn't be right if we didn't make a little plug about showing your support by making a gift. Really, truly, we appreciate everyone who makes a gift. I know many people on this call are very loyal donors, and we really, really appreciate your support. It does go a long way. And we are lucky enough to be on the side where we can see the impact of your support on a day-to-day basis, especially with our students. So we really, truly thank you for that and for staying engaged. So that's all for us. Story? I don't see any, well, actually, sorry, we're going to jump into Q&A. I don't see any questions currently. Does anyone want to throw one out there, or Dory or Natalie have anything?
Yeah, just let us know. We have a few minutes left, so please send any questions our way now, or feel free to follow up with us after, if you have a question that you think of once we exit.
I hope this means that we answered all the questions that you have. Great.
Oh, I think we've got one question here.
All right.
What does LEGO stand for? Natalie, I'll let you take that.
I'll hop on. So I was using the full name, Leadership Annual Giving Officer, but around the office, we call them Legos. It's one of the many acronyms that we have at NYU. So good question.
Thank you, Helen.
Yes,
glad to see you on.
Okay, great. I don't see any more questions popping up. Again, feel free to reach out to us. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us this morning. We're so happy you were able to join us, and we'll talk to you soon. Thank you so much.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.